that institution that allows us to have money to spend. That's why they keep saying the financial sector is the lifeblood of an economy. Without the financial sector, we don't have money to spend. So part of the financial sector is the financial institution, which is the central bank. The central bank is the apex bank, that's the highest bank within an economy. We as individuals or customers, we don't deal with central bank. We deal with commercial banks, which simply means the central bank deals directly with the commercial banks, like the Wahab Bank, Jomaria Bank, thank you, National Commercial Bank. These banks deal directly with the Central Bank of Libya. Yeah. So one of the roles of the Central Bank of Libya, Lo, put your head up please. One of the roles of the Central Bank of Libya is to decide the interest rate. Get the point here. One of the roles of the Central Bank of Libya is to decide the interest rate in Libya. So what is the interest rate? The interest rate is the price of money. When I talk about the price of money, I'm simply talking about the price of saving or the price of borrowing. You don't borrow a marker or a paper. You borrow what? Money. You don't save a marker or a paper. You save what? Money. Sit down properly, please. That's why I said down. That's why I said the interest rate is the price of money, because that is the only thing we could borrow. So for borrowers, who are the borrowers? Those that go to the bank for a loan.
Like us.
Yes. As soon as you go to the bank for a loan, you are a customer, a borrower. The bank will not just give you that loan. The bank will give you that loan because the bank wants to make profit out of the loan given to you. That is on the side of a borrower. And for the saver, you are a saver because you put your money or you keep your money into the bank. As soon as you keep your money in the bank, what we're talking about FD, fixed deposit. As soon as you deposit your money into the bank, you are entitled to an interest, which means you will be paid for keeping your money into the bank. How does this work? There's that bank that receives money from a customer, and that there's that individual who needs the money that has been received from the customer for loan. So the individual here pays the bank interest with the principal. The bank pays part of the interest to that saver as interest. That is how it works.
Mister.
Yes.
If I give like save, I save my money to the bank, and another one take a loan with my money.
Yes.
And I say to the bank, I need my money.
Your money is always in the bank, trust me. In as much as, listen, as an individual, when you save your money in the bank, you can withdraw it at any point in time. Can you put your, hello? I want those things down and focus here. As an individual, when you save your money in the bank, you have right to withdraw your money anytime, at any point in time. That's why I said FD, fixed deposit. For this amount of money, you save it to get at a stipulated time. Maybe 2 months, maybe 3 months. You won't get this money back unless it is 3 months. So that gives the bank the opportunity to use your money for someone who needs that money within 3 months. So you are saving your money, you want it back in the next 3 months because it is fixed.
You can take it
until
after
3 months.
3 months.
Yes. So the bank would look out for a customer who needs that money within 3 months or 2 months to get interest. And that part of the interest will pay to you. Is it clear now, please? Yes. Great. So for the interest rate, as a borrower or saver, you need to pay a price. The price of saving is interest. The price of borrowing is also what? Interest. Any question about interest? Good. So we have 2 types of interest rate. We have the nominal interest rate and the real interest rate. Why do we call it nominal interest rate? We call it a nominal interest rate because it has not been adjusted for inflation. What is inflation? A persistent rise in the price of goods and services. Stop right here. Inflation means a rise in the price of goods and services. If the interest rate has not been adjusted for inflation, we call it a nominal interest rate. But as soon as the interest rate has been adjusted for inflation, it becomes the real interest rate. So the difference between the real interest rate and the nominal interest rate is that the nominal is not being adjusted for inflation and the real has been adjusted for inflation. What makes it being adjusted? As soon as there's inflation within an economy, there's what we call indexation. So whatever we do, everything has to be adjusted for inflation. Individuals will want, because the price of the goods I buy continue to rise over time, I will discuss with the school to increase my salary. So that means my salary has to be adjusted for inflation. Do you understand what we're talking about here? So as soon as my salary is being adjusted for inflation, it's not nominal anymore, it becomes real wages. So whenever you find real, it means something has been adjusted for inflation. Do you understand the difference between nominal and real? There's nominal because there's no inflation adjusted on it. There's real because inflation has been adjusted for it. Do we get the point here, please? Any question up to now? There's nominal, which means it's still the same amount. But there's real, which means inflation has increased and we have adjusted it for inflation. I made the example of my wages. I receive wages. Then I go to the market, what I used to buy for $5 becomes $7. But my salary has not increased. I still receive the same salary. So I go to my bosses or to my school to increase my salary. So if that happens, then my salary becomes real wage, not nominal anymore. So that's the difference between real and nominal. Do we get the difference between real and nominal? Real means inflation has been adjusted. Nominal means there's no inflation adjusted. Any question about that? Great. Then we have to, I've talked about the real interest. So, there's a bond. Why do we call it a bond? We call it a bond because certain individual has given out a loan to the government. Stop that already, and you're paying down. We call it a bond because certain individual has given out a loan to the government. You can give loan to government, you can lend government money. As soon as you do that, the government will issue what we call a bond. So you become a bond holder. Get the point here. As soon as an individual gives out a loan to the government, you become a bond holder, which simply means the government will issue you a document stating that it has received certain amount of money from you with that it has to pay back with interest. Do you understand what a bond is here? A bond is a document stating that an individual has given out a loan to the government of a country. As soon as you receive this, the government have to pay back within a period of time with interest. So what is the problem is?
How can a person give a loan to you?
Yeah, it's possible. Some individuals are so rich, they are wealthy. So government might need money from them, yes. It's possible. But as soon as it happens, we call it a bond. Then you become a bond holder for giving government a loan. Is it clear? Great. Then what is the problem about a bond? The problem about a bond is the interest rate. As soon as the interest rate increases, you as a bond holder, the value of your bond falls because the bond has a fixed interest rate. Please get the point I'm making here. It is important. When you are issued a bond, as a bond holder, the interest rate the government will give to you or you receive from the government is fixed. If it is 5%, it is 5%. So if the interest rate increases, the value of your bond drops.
Because 5% is not enough.
Do you get it? So get the point I'm making here. The value of a bond, the capital value of a bond, reduces as soon as the interest rate increases. So that takes us to what we have here. So how do you calculate the value of your bond? To calculate the value of your bond, it is the original value of the bond multiplied by the rate of interest of that bond divided by the present rate of interest. So if you are giving out a loan to the government for 5,000 at a fixed rate of 5%. Now the interest rate has become 10%. So to calculate the value of your bond, your present value of the bond, it will be the value of that bond multiplied by the fixed interest rate divided by the present interest rate. Do we get it? So let's look at the value here. So here we have,
Can I answer it with that?
sure. So it's just easy. It becomes, this is the value of the bond, the previous bond, 100. Multiplied by the 5%, which is 5 over 100, which is 0.05, right? 0.05 divided by 0.1, right? So whatever you get here is what? 50. So the value of your bond has reduced from 100 to what? 50 euros. Do we get it here now or not? I will repeat it. What? It's not clear. Okay, the marker. I will explain now. Just look, please. Now, listen, listen, guys. What we're talking is this. Please, I want a decorum. And listen, please. The issue here is about the bond and the interest rate. What is the relationship between the bond and the interest rate? As soon as a bond is issued, the bond will be issued with an interest rate which is fixed. So we have given out a loan to the government for 100 euros. And the rate of interest then was 5%. Now, the rate of interest has increased to what? 10%. This reduces the value of your bond. So how can we get this done? So we assume that an individual has given a loan of 100 euros to the government at a fixed rate of 5%. Now, the rate of interest has increased from 5% to 10%. So we need to know the value of the bond now. The bond was 100 before now, but with an increase in the interest rate, the bond value drops. And this is how it drops. The value of the bond multiplied by the fixed interest rate divided by the present interest rate.
What's the value of the bond?
100 multiplied by 5%. 5% is 5 over 100, which is 0.05. Divided by 10%. 10% is the same as 0.1. So 100 multiplied by 0.05 divided by 0.1 gives us 50 euros. So the value of your bond of 100 euros is now 50 euros. Based on the fact that the interest rate has increased. So the note is, as soon as the interest rate increases, the value of the bond drops. Any question about it?
No.
So which simply means you cannot sell your bond to someone else because the value has dropped. Any question about it? Great. Then the last thing we need to know about interest rate is that the interest rate is done. Can you just, after now, both of you should never sit again. Thank you. So what I'm saying is this, the interest rate, the value of the interest rate is determined by the central bank of a country, and it is perfectly inelastic. When we say perfectly inelastic, it simply means irrespective of whatever happens to the interest rate, to the situation, it remains the same. That is a fixed interest rate. But what brings about the fixed interest rate? What brings about them is the demand for and the supply of money. Because we said interest rate is what? The price of money. Borrowing and saving means money. So what determines the value of the interest rate is based on the demand for and the supply of money. Any question about it? Any question about interest rate?
Yes, this is a blue one, we don't have next time.
Here, the rate of interest is determined by the central bank of Libya. So which simply means if it's going to be 5%, it has to be determined by the central bank of Libya. The policy used is called monetary policy. The central bank uses monetary policy when they have to decide the interest rate. So it is not you that decide, or government of Libya that decides, no. It is the central bank of Libya that decides the interest rate, which is fixed. It doesn't change. It doesn't fluctuate. But what makes them to decide the interest rate? The demand for money or the supply of money. Remember, the interest rate is what? The price of money. Interest rate is what? The price of money. So if the interest rate is the price of money, it simply means whatever has to determine the interest rate, it has to be from the borrowers or the savers. Do we get it or not? Do we get it or not? In summary, interest rate and bond has a negative or inverse relationship. As soon as the interest rate increases, the value of the bond falls. As soon as the interest rate falls, the value of the bond rises. Is it clear?
Mister, if you buy can a bond
Increase?
and the interest decrease.
No. That's why I said they have inverse relationship. A positive for negative, a negative for positive. If the interest rate is increasing, the value of bond drops. If the interest rate falls, the value of bond increases. So the only time you can sell your bond is when the value of the interest rate drops. Any question about it?
Thank you.
Thank you.